Can I help you?
I'm here to report a terrible crime.
And what terrible crime is that?
This one.
Thanks to our pals at Warner Brothers, I got to take in an early screening of Birds of Prey, the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. I think I got all the words in there. It's a crazy long title. And I do have to say right out of the gate that this is a better movie than Suicide Squad, although it's not much better. And that is a major problem with this film.
No.
You know, I came away disappointed for a number of reasons, but I do want to start with some of the positive stuff in here. First of all, the stylishness of the movie, the colors of the movie, the over-the-top kind of insanity of the film is enjoyable. There are definitely some great-looking scenes, and there's some excellent stunt work in this movie. People go flipping and flying all over the place, and all of the actors were up to the task of embodying their roles and doing the physicality of their roles. You can tell that it is Margot Robbie doing all these stunts as Harley Quinn, and it's commendable. That's very cool.
Thanks!
I also love the casting of Smollett-Bell as the new Dinah Lance, the new Black Canary in this movie. I thought that was excellent casting. She embodies this songstress really well. Like she's up on stage performing, and I don't know if it's her voice or not, but it's a beautifully sung song in the middle of the film. And then she just has this physicality that is really incredible to watch, but also the way that she interjects and plays off of everybody. There's a brassiness and a gutsiness and a truthfulness, and she's just fun. And I came away wishing that we had just had a solo movie for her. I also enjoyed how big Ewan McGregor got as Black Mask in this movie. I thought that he definitely played with the campy overtones and had some fun. Like, he knew what his job was to kind of amp it all up and be big and be crazy and over the top, and he delivered all of that. And he's such a charming scoundrel, and he turned the creep on, so it was quite effective.
I want to kill you. Because without the Joker around, I can.
Also, Margot Robbie is not to be discounted. I think she's great casting as Harley Quinn. She's obviously fallen in love with this character and has really started to champion herself as this character and its prominence in our popular culture, which is also commendable because this character is lovable and idiosyncratic and filled with all kinds of eccentricities that are just so enjoyable to watch since her debut in the Batman animated series in the 90s. But the difference, I think, that we're seeing, in the different permutations of Harley Quinn and what's kind of missed here is that this movie is all campy. It's all played for laughs. It's all big and crazy and zany. There really doesn't feel like there's much of a threat. It's like Harley Quinn can just sort of bounce off of things and not really get hurt and, get thrown on things and get thrown off of things, and she'll run around with her giant mallet. And it's all just one big live-action cartoon, which would be fine in doses, but it's hard to kind of sit there and take all of that in and feel much for it. It just feels so rubbery, it feels so phony and forced.
Yeah.
The thing that I think has made Harley Quinn so effective, she's usually paired or partnered or bouncing off of the Joker, which is referenced quite a bit in this movie, but of course we all know Jared Leto is not a part of this film at all. So there's the absence of the Joker, but there's also an absence of the darkness that we see in most Batman storylines, even in the animated series, and especially in the Arkham games. Whenever Harley Quinn came in, she was definitely a source of light and levity and a different kind of energy than a lot of the bleakness that we saw, up until that point. Contrasted it in a nice way. In this movie, it's like she's manic and crazy and absurd, and then every other character in the movie has to kind of match that frequency, and it undermines a lot of the pillars of who these characters are, Like Cassandra Cain, I wasn't especially taken by the performer. I thought she did an okay job, but I think that's a very, very interesting character, and I just saw this young girl kind of looking up to Harley Quinn and wanting to kind of mimic her eccentricities, and I didn't really go down the road with that.
He's not just after the kid anymore. He's after all of us.
And I was also very disappointed with the casting of Mary Elizabeth Winstead, not because I don't love her as a performer. I think she's fantastic, but it looked to me like she had about 4 weeks worth of training, and I don't mean to be offensive to anybody here, but it looks like she didn't have a lot of training to get ready and be this badass assassin for the role. And it's like, what a killer character the Huntress is in comic books. And they almost make fun of it in this movie, you know? And I'm not like the world's biggest Huntress fan, and I don't know the lore about every single one of the Batman family characters, but I've been following Batman stories for a long-ass time, and I have read a lot of stories where the Huntress and Batman are matched up, and she's a killer character, and I just felt like they dropped the ball here.
We're gonna have to work together.
I guess that's made up quite a bit by Journey Smollett-Bell as Dinah Lance, because Black Canary is amazing. Great combat sequences. I love when she pulls out the power and, you know, does the Black Canary scream. I thought that was cool. A lot of stuff comes out of nowhere in this movie, which you could kind of expect out of a Harley Quinn movie, but it just doesn't correlate with all of these other characters. Like, I would not put a Victor Zsasz in the middle of, you know, campy and silly. Victor Zsasz is a complete psycho who notches his skin with all the kills that he's made. And, you know, he's bouncing off of these two insane goofballs with, you know, Ewan McGregor's Black Mask and Harley Quinn. And it's just like, and he's trying to be goofy too. It just was so, it just felt off. It felt wrong.
Seriously.
I think this movie would have been better had there been, you know, like an honest-to-goodness Batgirl in there or something. I mean, I love the fact that we have a female-directed movie and a female-written movie, and it's starring a massive cast of women. I think that's fantastic, but I don't think the movie is fantastic, and I think it's a real missed opportunity. I mean, the dialogue feels chewy, motivations feel mushy. I just don't feel connected to, you know, why all of these characters have to get together and band against the Black Mask. It just feels really forced and contrived and like a licensing play more than anything. And it should have been a massive make-good on the missteps of Suicide Squad, because I think that was the intention from the get-go, and unfortunately, I don't think it is at all.
For all your noise and bluster, you're just a silly little girl with no one around to protect her.
In my opinion, this is a very mediocre movie. I'm severely disappointed, especially as a fan of the Batman lore and this grouping of characters. I really wanted more out of this. And we've had some great momentum with DC in the past little while with Shazam and Aquaman and Wonder Woman. I can't wait for Wonder Woman 1984. But this movie just does not do it for me. And I think another thing that doesn't do this movie any favors is the fact that it's coming pretty close on the heels to Joker, which is going to clean up at awards again at the Oscars. It just has way more emotional resonance, and it's definitely a darker kind of movie, but it's hard not to think like the last big DC event thing that we went to was Joker, and then Birds of Prey just seems like a real trifle and a pretty big disappointment. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10.